Hi, we are
The
the
Kings.
Kings. It's our first video, and we are currently on Carnival Venezia, the inaugural sailing from New York City. So we wanted to go through some pros and cons that we've experienced on our short cruise to Bermuda. Today is the last day. It's a sea day. Happens to be Father's Day, and we are getting he's showing you his Father's Day shirt. Tomorrow we will be disembarking in New York City, so we figured we'd run down the lists of our pros and cons and let you know what we thought of the ship and our true honest opinions.
So the first, in terms of pros, the first pro is the smart elevator.
I did share some videos on how to use the smart elevators. So basically there is a screen that lists all the floors. You have to go over and press the floor that you want to go on. It will say, for example, if you hit deck 10 and the letter M will pop up on the screen telling you that you're going to get on elevator M, or what is it called? Do you remember? Car 10 or car M. And then you have to hit it again if you have other passengers. So if you have 2 or 3 people in your party that are going to get on the elevator, you should do the same thing 3 times. If you have somebody that's in a wheelchair, a scooter, or a stroller, you should make sure that you use the handicap button and go through the process that it tells you to go through. It ensures that you will have enough room in the elevator. And even though a lot of people don't like to use it, or they think it's a hassle, or they don't want to get to know the technology, it really is, it really helps guarantee that there's going to be room on the elevator, and it makes sure that you're not standing there waiting for an elevator for a half hour, and every elevator door that opens, the elevator's full, which we find on other cruises when we like stand there and wait, especially if you have a wheelchair. It can be quite hard to get into an elevator. So this guarantees that the elevator that you're standing in front of is going to open and you will have room. The issue that we find with it is that people don't want to learn how to use it properly, and they don't press the button enough times for the amount of people that they want to get on, or they don't even realize that they have to do anything, and they get in the elevator and there's no buttons in the elevator and they don't know what to do. So make sure you learn how to use it. It's really not scary. It's not hard to do, and it does make things easier.
It's definitely the best elevator system on any cruise ship, and as long as everyone's using it properly, it helps. Like like my wife said, it helps ensure that there is space on the elevator when the elevator that you're assigned to arrives, and especially in terms of like strollers, wheelchairs, and the scooters. That's definitely the biggest thing, is that there will always be room if everyone's using it properly, and you won't have to wait as long for an elevator that to take you where you need to go.
Yeah, and I just want to throw in, last year I was using a scooter, and on a different cruise line, different cruise line, and we were waiting for an elevator for about, I want to say 45 minutes, trying to get to dinner, because everybody was on the elevators trying to go to the dining room, and I pretty much almost started crying. I think it was a year ago. And I was basically in tears, thinking that I wasn't going to get to dinner, and the kids were waiting at the table for us, and we were trying to get on an elevator where I would fit with the scooter and everything, and it was really hard. So elevators do fill up, and it is an issue on cruise ships in general. So using the smart elevators is really like a great tool if everybody's using it correctly. So you get assigned to an elevator, the doors open, and there should always be room on that elevator for you, and it takes you exactly where you want to go. And a lot of times you don't have to stop at many floors, which is also another issue on cruise lines that don't use it. So, sometimes you get on and all the buttons are pushed, and you get on, you stop at every floor. That's not an issue when you're using the smart elevators, because it's taking you exactly where you want to go.
The next pro is the space in the main theater, the spacing between the actual seats and the rows.
Yes, so anybody that's been on a cruise ship or an auditorium in general, Broadway shows, you know that seats are very close together, even in movie theaters. Seats are very close together, and anybody that, sits in the middle of the row and you have to get up and get out, or people that are getting into the seats, there's very little space to walk, and everybody has to stand up to let the other people walk through. On the Carnival Venezia, the main theater, I can't think of the name right now, but main theater, it's on deck 4 and 5 forward. So the seats are spaced out in between each row with like a lot of room, like an abundance of room. Like, I'm not a skinny person, and I would easily be able to stand up and walk out if we were in the middle of the row and I needed to exit. I would easily be able to do that with other people still sitting in their seats. It wouldn't be an issue. It's really quite nice. You don't feel claustrophobic. The theater itself is really beautiful. Even though it's spaced out, there's still a lot of seats. They do get a lot of people in there. I think the design is pretty nice considering other theaters that we've seen on cruise ships.
The next pro is the placement of all the bars, and the fact that feels pretty much like there's a bar everywhere on the ship.
Yes, especially on the main floors that you use, like such as deck 4 with the casino and the Limelight Lounge, deck 5 with the gondola lounge, and even deck 3 where the main dining rooms are. So you really, anywhere you walk on those floors especially, or the what's the other one, deck 10, the Lido deck, everywhere you walk there's a bar, in the aft, the mid, the forward, and you end up seeing more bars than you expect. So I looked at the deck plans numerous times before we got on the ship, and still I was surprised when we're walking and we're finding all these bars. And a lot of times there's not like long lines. You can easily walk up and you wait a few minutes sometimes, or you could just walk up and get a drink. It's really not bad. And it was nice to see so many bars and the availability, if you want to get a water bottle or a soda or anything like that. So it's really easy.
The next pro is not only the casino in general, the size of the casino, the fact that it's probably one of the largest casinos I've seen on a cruise ship, but in addition to that is the actual, it's called the Casino Annex, which is a non-smoking casino area.
Yes, I also took a video of that, which I will be posting. So you have the main casino, which, like my husband said, is quite large. I think the casino on Carnival Mardi Gras was really big too. But specifically what we fell in love with was not only the amount of slot games that they have, as well as the table games, but they have what they call a casino annex, which is separate. You really have to look at it on the deck map. It's like off to the side. You wouldn't know it's really there. You have to walk down a separate hallway to get there. And, if I wasn't aware of it in advance, I probably wouldn't have even noticed the signs for it. So it is a non-smoking section. There are a few table games in there, and they have penny slots and other slot machines as well. It's not too many compared to the main casino, but it's definitely nice to get out of the main casino and you're not smelling any smoke, and it's quieter if you like to have some quiet time in the casino. Definitely different from being in a casino, especially on cruise ships, where everybody's sitting in there smoking, and it gets like stinky and stuffy. And it was nice. It's something nice, and I hope they add that to other cruise ships.
Yeah, it's similar to like the high limit or the high slots in some like ground casinos, of how they have it like sectioned off in its own section, but except in this case it's specifically non-smoking, unlike some casinos that might try to split half of the same room into smoking and then the other half into non-smoking. It's completely separate, so that there's no smoke going, like basically crossing over. It's legitimately a non-smoking area.
Yeah, and we go to Atlantic City in New Jersey sometimes, so we're familiar with how they label a section non-smoking, and literally 10 feet away is the smoking section. So it's not like that at all. If smoke really bothers you, or the noise in the casino, definitely check out the casino annex.
The next pro is the retractable roof on the Lido deck, the mid section of the Lido deck.
Yes, so I'm sure a lot of people that have checked out this cruise ship have seen that they do have a retractable roof, so when it is raining, they can close it. Or if the weather's bad, they can close it. I think they were closing it when it was like really foggy out or, anything like that. The downside is, I will mention that it was like pouring rain yesterday, I think, yesterday, the night before, and they had the roof open during that time. It was very strange. I don't know if they were just delayed closing it or they're still learning how to get it closed and open quickly. So we were a little bothered that, the floor was really wet. It was, the main area, and they were flooding a little bit with that, and they were trying to keep up with it. And then when the sun was out, I think so, it was raining 2 nights before, and then the sun was out yesterday for a bit, and they had the roof still closed. They didn't open it up when they could have. So that, hopefully they get better with it. Today they finally did open it up when it was partly sunny, or mostly sunny, I guess. And the weather was nice, and it was getting hot in there because, there was no wind to blow around since the roof was closed. So finally they did open it up. It is definitely a nice feature for anybody that goes on a cruise ship. You know what it's like when it's really cold or it's raining and the weather's not good. You can't really use the main pool decks, which is a lot of times where they have the parties and the music and different things going on. So it's nice that they have that ability on this cruise ship that they can close the roof and still utilize that area.
And the next pro would be the midnight buffet, which is something that you see mainly pretty much on Carnival as compared to some of the other cruise lines. But the midnight buffet is definitely a big plus to the cruise ship.
Yes, and that's for the foodies that want to eat 24 hours a day, basically. Even though we're usually sleeping before the midnight buffet starts, so we haven't actually seen it yet, but like my husband said, it's not something that all cruise lines have, and it's something that I think was known like back in the day. People that cruised when they were younger or, a long time ago. We often, when we talk to our friends about cruising, they're like, oh, and then they have a midnight buffet, right? And I'm like, oh, we don't really see that anymore. So this cruise ship specifically, I don't know what the other cruise ships are doing, but the Carnival Venezia currently is doing midnight buffets every night. I don't know if they're mixing it up with different theme nights at all. Like I said, we haven't been there, but at least they are having it. We see it on the Fun Times, the planner, every day. So it is midnight to, do you know what time it ends? 12 o'clock? 12 to 1 or 1:30 maybe?
Yeah, that I can't recall, but it's something like that.
Yeah,
like
1 or 1:30. Yeah. So you at least have an hour if you're hungry, and you don't want pizza or something like that. So that is a nice feature for some people that I think they look forward to.
And the next pro is the towels in the room, specifically beach towels. You don't have to go and collect them. I mean, assuming you only need like a couple. If there's 2 of you in the room, they actually have the beach towels in the room for you already. You don't have to worry about going to collect them from somewhere or going back to return them. You can they're already in the room for you, and you don't have to worry about taking them back somewhere and being charged some fee because you didn't return it back at the end of the cruise.
Yeah, and I'm not going to name the cruise line, but one of the cruise lines that we sail often, we usually have to go to the pool deck and take out 2 towels or 4 towels, depending on if our kids are with us. And then we have to make sure that we return them at the end of the cruise to make sure we're not charged for anything. So, you might not even use the pool on the boat, but if you're getting off the boat for an excursion and you need to bring some towels, you don't have to check them out at the pool deck or when you're getting off the boat. So they're in your room, you can pack them in your bag, and they are a good size for if you want to use them. So we definitely think that's a plus.
And of course, if you need any more, you can go and get more as well. But they start you out with some already, so you don't have to worry about that. The next pro is the music on the ship, at least in our opinion.
Yes, in our opinion. Remember, everything is in our opinion. because everybody has different experiences and everybody has different taste. So in our opinion, we're like, you know, in our early 40s. So we have found the music on the ship to be enjoyable. We like the genres that they've been playing, and we find it, you know, really in all the venues I think that we've been in, they've played like a good mix of music that I've seen a lot of people dancing around and enjoying. And again, like any cruise ship, you get different types of music in different venues on the ship. But especially on the pool deck or the aft, like even the music playing over the speakers, not just the live music. You know, it's been our taste of music, something that we like, and it's pleasurable, I guess.
Okay, so moving on to the cons of this cruise ship. First, we'll start with the biggest thing is probably the buffet design.
Do you want to explain more of that? Because it bothers you more.
Yeah. Now, so during the transatlantic cruise, the transatlantic sailing prior to this, there was actually physical fights in the buffet, and this was actually caused by the poor design, where you literally have to wait in the line behind people who are getting, let's say, they have the salad set up before some of the other foods, and the line is slowing up because there's a lot of people stopping to get salad. But behind them, you also have a bunch of people who have no interest in getting salad. But because of the way that the line is set up, they are behind those people getting salads. So for them to go around those people and kind of skip them in the line,
Cut the line,
and
yeah.
go ahead to the food that's in front of them, that's where problems have been caused. And it's simply a design problem where those areas should have been sections different separately, so that people who wanted salad could go straight and get their salad, and then separately from that, people that wanted to get the other foods could have gotten those other foods. So that's the issue in the design of how they did the buffet.
Yes, and I think that we've seen this buffet design on their other ships. We've been on Carnival Horizon, Carnival Mardi Gras. I feel like it's a similar buffet layout. They have very narrow space on the sides to walk along the buffet, and then the buffet is like in between. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but it's very choppy to me. It's like not, I don't know, I just feel like I don't personally love the layout of it. It's not open. It's, you know, it feels like a very long walk from the front of the buffet to the back. And you can't really, it's harder to see everything. So, you know, we did the buffet. We tried to eat it for lunch the first day that we got on, and I didn't like it. It was like, it gets very congested very quickly. The lines for things get very long. And like my husband said, you know, people are lining up and getting salad before they get the hot food. And to jump in, if you just want the hot food, you kind of feel like you're cutting the line. So obviously there was, from what we heard, physical fights in the buffet on the sailing from Barcelona, the transatlantic. So I don't think it's as problematic on the ship, not that I've heard, but it's just something that, you know, we don't like. And we like more when we see the food, I guess, displayed, broken up in different areas, so everybody can kind of go for what they like without lines forming and too much congestion. It's easier to walk around. But I think that's just the Carnival design.
And going from that, in terms of design, the next con would be the ship's design and layout, which is overall not just an issue on this ship. It's actually a Carnival issue in how they seem to design all their ships, and it seems to be one that they haven't really figured out yet.
So one of the things that I dislike most about the Carnival fleet, or the ships that we've been on at least, the layout, the design is not my favorite. Things are kind of choppy on different floors, and it just doesn't run as smoothly as, I'm going to say, and I'm going to compare it, for example, to the Royal Caribbean ships, where you have like a promenade deck where all the stores are there, and you have the pizza and you have some other things all on that one deck, and you can walk straight from the forward to the aft, and it's kind of like very nice. On Carnival, things are more chopped up, and you know, they have dining room placements where they have like one of the dining rooms for dinner is in the middle of the ship and then the other one's in the back, and you can't on those floors get from from the middle to the back because of where they have the kitchen. So you have to kind of like go up one floor or down one floor to go from the front or the middle to the aft, and then go back to the floor that you want to go. It's people get lost. I will say we do see a lot of new cruisers looking at the elevators or the stairs when they get to the middle of the ship, and they can't figure out why they can't get to the back of the ship if they're going to that back dining room. And we have to explain to them, you know, if I see them, I do try to say like, oh, sorry, you got to go up one floor, down one floor, walk to the aft, and then go back to that floor 3 if that's where you want to go. And they're like, oh, thank you so much, because it's, you know, it's hard to figure out if you're new and you can't figure out why you can't get there. So to me, it's a design flaw. I never liked flaw. It's a flaw that I never liked, and I don't know. It's something I think about all the time when we're planning a Carnival cruise. It to me is annoying. It's like every time we're going to go to dinner, I have to think about it. It's just something that I really wish that they would change going forward in their future ships, but I'm just not sure that they're looking to change anything. I think they're fine with it. I'm not sure if they see it as a problem. I think they're happy with their ship layout. So we'll see what they do in the future. But to me, I just would like to see things run a little bit more smoothly. And how would you describe it? I just feel like it's not like an easy layout. It's very choppy, and it's hard to even remember where things are on the ship because of the way they have it. You often have to walk through different hallways to get from one place to another. It's not very open and centered, and I'll compare it to the like newer Royal Caribbean ships. It's broken up and it gets a little confusing. You can get lost.
The next con, actually the next two cons, because they actually kind of go together. The first one is the cruise director, and the one after that is actually staffing and staffing issues. And I think they kind of go together because of one like main topic, one like kind of thing with that is that, you know, with a brand new ship in the Carnival fleet, you would expect that they would bring together the best of the best. You would want the best cruise director that you have available, the best staff that you have to come onto this new ship, you know, that you want to represent the brand's name. And in terms of both the cruise director and also the staffing, at least in our opinion, that's definitely it's not the best of the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna compare it to like, I mean, we've been on other Carnival cruises. We've had pleasurable experiences, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have kept cruising. In fact, our first cruise together was a Carnival cruise on Carnival Splendor, and we loved it. It's a smaller ship. They don't have as much of the new fancy stuff at the time we went on it anyway. And we all had a great time. And the dining staff was fantastic, and I fell in love with like going to the dining room and everybody knows your name, and everything goes smoothly, and all the staff was friendly, and everywhere we saw them they said hello and they knew our names. And I will be honest, I don't remember the cruise director on that one. I don't think we were paying attention to it at the time. We were very busy as it was our first cruise and it was short, and it was like the kids were getting used to everything. So, but since then we've really paid attention to the cruise director, and we've enjoyed like learning about them beforehand and getting to know them and seeing them and talking to them. And the last couple Carnival cruises that we took happened to be with Mike Pack, who's now been promoted and is no longer working as a cruise director on individual ships. We loved his energy. We loved his enthusiasm, and he was funny, and it was like he was basically probably drinking coffee all day because he constantly had the energy, whether you saw him first thing in the morning or late at night. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So, and you know, when I will say when we go to Royal Caribbean ships, we don't see that energy as high. So it's something we kind of just expect on Carnival, as they label themselves the fun ship. So, coming on this cruise, we expected everything to be great. We know that other cruise lines usually do pull the best of the best. Their best crew usually go on the newest ships and everything, and they want to make sure those newest ships are running great, especially they usually cost more money because they're newer. And especially when you're rebranding something like Carnival did here with the Venezia, and you're promoting it. You have the president of Carnival on the ship, and you have different people, celebrities, bloggers, and everybody coming on to review the ship. I would have liked to see them have better staff. And the cruise director, Mark Hugh, everybody seems to, a lot of people do like him. I think he's a cool guy. I have seen like his funny side, and I do like that. I'm not putting him down at all. I will say that his level of I don't know, excitement or just his bubbliness is not anywhere near Mike Pack. But I was a little disappointed with that. With that said, the main issue that we have found is with the staff, like all over the ship. Not only us, but a bunch of people have complained, like the stewards aren't leaving toilet paper in the rooms, like extra. I don't know if they're having a shortage, but it's strange that they're like not leaving extra toilet paper in the rooms. And was there other things with the stewards? I think overall the stewards aren't bad. Like, we've had bad stewards on other ships. This one is just...
I know with even with the turn down service, and I feel like for the room stewards, things have kind of been, at least for Carnival, things have been made easier because of the fact that they only do a room one time a day instead of the usual twice a day. So when you originally board, they ask you if you want them to come in the morning time or if you want them to come in the evening time, and then whichever one you select, they're only going to be coming one of those two times. So they have a much easier job in terms of how it used to be for them, in terms of handling each individual stateroom. So with that, you'd expect a little bit of a better service from them, since they're kind of been made easier for them. And small things like replacing toilet tissue and that sort of thing, or closing the blinds when they're doing the turn down, if they happen to be coming to your room in the evening. Those are things that you basically would pretty much come to expect. And I would compare it to, like, if you had them coming in the morning, that something that you'd probably expect is that when you come back to the room, that the bed would be made. So I would compare it to something like that in terms of coming back and then finding that that the curtains are still wide open, and that sort of stuff, and that you don't have your toilet tissue and that sort of thing.
And yes, and I just want to add that we know that their job is not easy. I mean, it's not. We know that the workers on the ship all work very hard. So we're not putting them down in any way. We don't think, even though my husband used the word easier to describe what they're doing, what you would think that they're doing, since they're only coming in the room once a day. We know that they're still working hard all day long, and that the ships usually use them for multiple tasks, not just one thing. So we do know that they work really hard. We do know that all the staff on the ship, restaurant staff, waiters, bartenders, they do multiple things, and they are working hard, and they have long hours, and we do know that. So this is just our opinion of what we're seeing and comparing it to other cruises that we've taken and other cruise lines in general. So like my husband said, we've had some issues, just nothing that we would even really complain about, but we're just pointing it out, that we're not seeing that level of service that we would expect. So, like, not replacing the toilet tissue, it's not something I should have to think about, especially on a cruise where everybody's eating as much as possible. Like, I don't want to ever think that we're not going to have enough toilet tissue, or I got to track them down in the hallway and get toilet paper. That's just simple stuff that they should be doing. The staff in general, I don't know, we haven't been in love with the drinks that we've been getting at the bars. There are people that love what they've been drinking, but more so our service. So in the dining room, we've been having the issue that our drinks that we order before we even order our food don't come until our dinner's coming, Or in one circumstance, my husband ordered a glass of wine, and or before your dinner even came, I believe. I think it was before dinner came. And we ended up leaving after dessert because he never even got that wine. Yesterday, we ordered drinks. He got an alcoholic drink and I got soda. And it didn't come until after we had our dinner there. And for me, that's an issue. Like, I want to have my soda. I want to have my drink. I was thirsty. I didn't just want the water. We have the drink package, you know. So, like, we might have ordered a couple drinks while we sat there. And instead, we barely had the one that we got. And I had to ask for it again. So when we got our dinners, I had to point out that we still didn't have our drinks. And especially soda. I think that's something they have pretty easy access to. And again, dinner last night, for us, it was served at the same time as the appetizer. My husband didn't get an appetizer. He got 2 dinners. And for me, I did get an appetizer and 1 dinner. And they brought my appetizer and my dinner at the same time, and they brought his 2 dinners at the same time. And usually when we cruise, it's, you know, I would have gotten my appetizer before my dinner. I would have had time to eat it. And for him, without the appetizer, they might have even offered for him to have one of his dinners while I ate my appetizer. That's what we would expect, and that didn't happen last night. So that's been bothersome, and we will see tonight how tonight goes. But so the first couple days, not so well. And I know that it's a new ship and staff are getting to know things, but they did have the transatlantic. And again, if they took staff from other ships that have worked for the cruise line before, they should be at least used to providing good service. So we're very disappointed in that. We've noticed that when we go to the comedy shows, especially in the Limelight Lounge, we're ordering drinks and it's taking like 45 minutes to get the drink. 2 nights in a row, we ordered our drinks, and our the waiter came back over and with the tray, and he's like, "Oh, what did you get?" So he knew that he had to come to us, but when we told him what our drink was, he didn't have it on the tray. So he came over to us, we waited a long time, and then he didn't even have our drinks, and we had to wait again for him to come back with our drinks. And it wasn't even the right drink. So, you know, and I'm just not understanding that. So last night at the comedy show, we waited about 45 minutes. The same thing happened. And then, so 45 minutes before we actually got our drinks that we wanted. And the show was pretty much over. So we had 5 minutes like left in the show that we drank our drinks. So what was the other thing? I think there was also, we were just...
Well, just the general organization seems to be like not quite there yet with the staff. One of the, you know, something as simple as the table numbers in the dining room, and this seems to be a common issue that it's happened with us a couple of times where you go in and you tell them what table number you're at, and it seems like the person who they're using to take you to your table has no idea where the table is, and they're kind of looking around, you know, where the table is. They're asking other people, other staff, where that table number is, and then, you know, you're spending all this time walking around. And even while we've been sitting down, and this has happened for our assigned traditional dining, and also I've seen it for breakfast as well, where you know, you see them walking a group of people around trying to find a table number, which is something that shouldn't be happening in the dining room. Especially, you know, I can understand if this was the very first sailing, but prior to this inaugural cruise, they did also have that transatlantic sailing. So, you know, you would think that they would have gotten somewhat familiarized over that 14, you know, day cruise as to where the tables are.
Or they should lay it out better. We find Carnival to be more disorganized. So maybe they're not laying out the numbers properly, that they don't fall in order to easily find the tables. They're kind of scattered. I think they try to have some organization, but it doesn't really happen. So that's just something that, you know, goes again. I don't know if it's the staff or the organization or a mix of both. So just a little warning.
And then, you know, still kind of staying on that organization side of things in terms of cons. With Carnival, we've pretty much always found that every single event almost always starts late. For me, something that I've always said is that they confuse the word fun with the word disorganization. It seems that they think that in order for things to be fun, they're not organized, and which is something that's not true. You can have fun and still have events and everything start at the time that you say they're going to start. And I think one time on this cruise, which was probably one of the worst things that we've seen, they had a show in the theater that was scheduled for 9:45 p.m. There were supposed to be two of those shows, so there was one at 9:45. I guess it was a short show, and there was another one scheduled for 10:15. They actually didn't open the doors to the theater until 9:45 at the time that the show was supposed to start. After sitting in the theater for
20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, around 10:05, we kind of realized that this show isn't. I mean, it's 10:05. They're already at the time pretty much that the next show should be starting, and we started to realize that they must have decided to combine it and just do one show, and despite making that decision to just do that and not telling anybody, they didn't make an announcement or anything about it, and that includes even the cruise director was in the theater walking around during that time and just kind of like greeting people and stuff, and they still never made any type of announcement about the time of that being changed and them deciding to make that combination of shows. So we ended up, in our case, we ended up leaving because we weren't intending to spend that much time there. We expected to see a 9:45 show and be out of there before 10:15, which didn't happen. So
yeah, we actually had something we wanted to get done by 10:30. I think we wanted to get milkshakes or do something else that was scheduled, and so we ended up deciding to leave, and we never even got to see that show. So we don't know how it is. We can't leave a review on it. Hopefully it was good, but we don't know. We don't even know if it happened, actually. So and I wanted to say the Italian festival, I don't know if that was night one, I think, possibly. There was an Italian festival on the Lido deck, midship. They had it decorated really nice with all these Italian like, I don't know, like little flags and like little things hanging around. And they really did set it up nice, and they had a whole layout of schedule, like 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, 8:40, like it was really like laid out really nice. They had it posted up on the big screen on the Lido deck. And I will say that it did not follow that schedule at all, like at all. Like,
and everything as usual was also the timing and everything was completely off. As like, for instance, a part of that those events was a gelato eating contest for the kids, and that was actually scheduled for 8:15, I believe it was the time, 8:15 p.m. for the gelato eating contest for the kids. I would say they didn't get that started until probably somewhere around like 8:45ish.
Maybe 9, I think 9
was actually the actual time, and they had some other things. Like there was actually a point in time where they actually were playing music, and it wasn't like live music, it was like recorded music that they were playing as a part of the event, and they actually wasted a good probably 15 minutes of them playing that recorded music instead of realizing that we're behind schedule here, we should probably cut this portion out so that we can get back on schedule, and that's where there's that confusion of that fun and the organization thing, where they don't realize that we should at least try to run things on time that we say they're going to be, and especially when we're posting on the big screen an actual schedule of events and the time that everything's going to be taking place. It looks really bad, especially on the cruise director, when you have that and things still aren't following anywhere close to that time schedule.
Yeah, and it really comes into play when you're trying to go to activities and events that are posted on the planner for specific times. So my husband actually wanted to partake in the adult gelato eating contest. So he does, like we like to participate in the activities. My husband loves to participate in activities. And, we were waiting as long as possible, but we had something else to do that night. I think around 9:30. I can't remember what it was. And we we knew that if we stayed and waited for the whatever time they got to the adult gelato eating contest, that we weren't going to be able to get to do whatever else it was that we wanted to do. So again, it was one of those things that we had to get up and leave, and we never even got to see it. So, you know, it's been an issue for Carnival. They run on their own time. They run late. Embarkation started very late. Even though the ship was here, there wasn't another cruise that was disembarking the same day. So the ship was in port, the rooms were ready, and yet we got on the ship probably at least an hour after we were supposed to get on the ship, and we were part of the first group that should have boarded. So, you know, in general, they just run late, and it's really annoying, and especially when you go on other cruise lines and you go to activities and they start on time. So it's definitely doable. You could still have a lot of fun. You could still do all that stuff, but you know, they really, really need to prioritize their schedules, and they really need to respect the time of everybody on the ship, because you know, that's the whole point of making the planner. That's the whole point of putting the fun times out with all the timed events and doing all that stuff, you know. So if you're messing around with people not getting to where they need to go, or you know, they're getting to where they need to be and then they're sitting there for a half hour waiting for it to start, it doesn't leave you with a good feeling. It's just a waste of time, in our opinion, you know. And we could have been in the casino, we could have been doing something else at that time. So you know, we really wish that they would get better with that.
And I think the last thing, which kind of goes with their technology, and then at the same time can also be lumped in together with that organization thing, is the food ordering. They're actually having their app the ability to order, where you can actually order food for pickup. Seems like a very cool feature. Unfortunately, at least for our cruise, this feature was not working. So it's been grayed out the entire cruise, and you couldn't order food to pick up from anywhere. So despite that, there was actually a very nice sized sign at the seafood shack telling you that you don't have to wait in line. You can actually go on the app and order food for pickup, which is, you know, it sounded nice, and it's like, wait a second. I checked that earlier, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't working. You know, so I went back and checked it again just to make sure I wasn't, you know, confused or anything, and confirmed that it indeed was not working. But, and you know, this isn't like some permanent sign. This is the sign that these guys who work in there actually had to put out. So they had this sign sitting out there, not having no idea that the food pickup thing actually wasn't working. And you know, so that's something that they should have known, and the cruise, you know, so whoever is in charge of that sort of thing should have known that wasn't working, and those guys should have known not to put that sign out.
Yeah, so it was something we learned about when we sailed on Carnival Mardi Gras in 2021. It was a really cool feature that, you know, you could be sitting at a theater or, you know, in a lounge, and you could order food or pizza to where you're sitting. It's really, really cool. Their technology in that aspect is really awesome and ahead of other cruise lines. But for some reason, and I don't know if it's because it's the inaugural sailing out of New York City, but some of their technology was not working for this cruise. Unfortunately for them, you know, it does affect things, because you know, it's frustrating. It's something like day one, our Wi-Fi wasn't working at all. We had to rebuy it, even though we ordered it in advance. And again, it might not be their fault. I'm not sure what the technology problem was. I know they had a glitch. They admitted that when we went to customer service. I think something with the drinks, even though they weren't supposed to work the first day. I think even the people that had free drinks from the casino or something wasn't working right. We've also found the internet to be absolutely horrible. We paid for the premium Wi-Fi, and most of our trip using the Wi-Fi has been really not good, to put it nicely. I want to be careful what I'm saying with my words. So my husband tried working from the ship. You know, he was able to do it. It was a pain in the ass, but he was able to do it. And you know, me just trying to like get on Facebook or social media or text with the kids, there were some messages that weren't going through. So just be aware of that. I'm glad that I chose to actually take these days off of work and I didn't try to work from the ship. That would have been a real problem for me because I really definitely needed the high-speed internet to work if I was working. So just be careful with that. You might want to, just rethink it. I don't know if it's going to always be a problem. I'm not sure what internet or Wi-Fi routers they're using. I don't know what the issue is, but the internet has not been great. We ran into some other people that we became friends with, and they said the same thing. They're having pretty much all the similar issues that we're having with the drinks coming after their meals, the Wi-Fi issues, the toilet paper issues. So it's not just us. We're definitely hearing it from other people. Was that the last con I think we were going to mention?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think.
So I just want to repeat that again. This is our experience. It's our review. It's from us. It's, it's something that we know that everybody on the ship is going to experience differently because everybody on the ship has different waiters and different staff, and everybody has a different steward. Everybody has a different preference of music and everything else that they like. So, maybe somebody didn't need to use the internet for work, or maybe somebody's just using it for social media, or just to send a couple text messages and they haven't had a problem with the Wi-Fi. So, we definitely know that everybody's experience is different. So, please just remember that, we're giving a review based on our experience. And with that, we still want to say that despite all the cons, we are still having a good time. We do make the best of it. We do try to make the best of it. And, we had some crazy dinner experiences with some people that they paired us with at the dinner table. I'm not going to get into that. But, definitely we had some issues and circumstances that we could have let make us feel like angry or miserable or unhappy, but we're really not doing that. We just want to be honest and say what was good and what was bad. But like always, a cruise is what you make it. So you gotta go to the activities. You gotta accept that they're gonna run late if you know that. You gotta make the best of it and just enjoy what you can. Enjoy the music, be happy, make friends, socialize, read a book if you want to be, read a book and have quiet time. That's up to you. So, always try to make the best of it, even when things aren't going well, and just learn from the experience. And, we'll make a decision the next time we're looking at cruises. All right. Anything else?
I think that's pretty much it. And also remember, the cruise line does not control the weather. So,
yes, do not ask for a refund if it rains.
So if you're going to one place, like in our case, we went to Bermuda, and there's rain in the forecast, and heavy rain, it may mess up your plans, but in the end, it's still, you can still do whatever. Like in our case, we ended up staying on the ship because our excursion got completely canceled because the weather was not safe for us to go out on the boat that we were going to rent. But we stayed on the ship and we did activities and we still had a good time. So
yes, we did.
In the end, you can make it whatever you want to make it. If you want to have a good time, you're gonna have a good time. And cruising is a great way to have a good vacation.
Yes. All right. So if you enjoyed this long video, please like and subscribe, and you will see more. All right. Thank you.